basing on these initial remarks that's been exchanged that we just heard, be it the mention of friction, be it the mention of Donald Trump being looked at as a peacemaker or a deal maker amongst nations. But I would also want to understand the tonality of this interaction between the two leaders. Who would you say, just based on speculations and the events that's taken place so far in the US-China relations, who would you say has the greatest strategic leverage today at that meeting table where the meeting is currently underway?
Shreya, this is the two world's greatest economies that are meeting. Number one economy and the number two economy. One's at $30 trillion, the other is at $19 trillion. And they are aging. The $19 trillion wants to replace the $30 trillion. So that's a big jockeying for a higher ground that is taking place. But the tonality is all right. The optics are all perfect. Both say, good to see you. There's a degree of familiarity between the two. They're both addressing each other. President Xi Jinping is very clear about saying the right things that President Trump wants to hear. President Trump wants to see as a peacemaker, and if he's endorsed as a peacemaker or a deal maker by President Xi Jinping, it's a shot in the arm for him. So any presidential concession he can hope to make, he would be in the right frame of mind for doing so. And Xi Jinping at this time does want access to American market. He wants American technology. He wants a lot of access to the United States of America because China depends on that extensively. For President Trump, it's the same when it comes to his agricultural products. He wants his soybean corn to be sold to China. He does want to ensure that fentanyl chemicals that occur in it, that pure, trauma in the United States of America, they can check. At the same time, he wants to ensure that American supremacy remains. And in all of that, while you notice they've talked about Gaza, they've talked about Cambodia, and there's no conversation about any other conflict. And this is where, China is also standing by Russia in the Russia-Ukraine war. There's no conversation whatsoever about what happened in the region as part of operations to do from the Chinese side. So that's also very, very significant and very interesting. At the same time, you test that President Trump spoke of the indication for Russia, because Russia has spoken about the underwater drones and nuclear-powered drones that completely the dynamic. Remember, America last new test was in 1992, and after 1992, if the next test be spoken of in 2025 for tests to happen perhaps in 2026, it's a very major signal that is being sent out. You may be an economic powerhouse, but unless you have military strength to back that economy, you are no good. And that is something that India knows well from our history. We may have been Sone ki chiriya, but if you didn't have the military might to back it, you have invaders ruling, plundering your country over centuries. So military power is extremely significant. Both these countries are working extensively, even on their military power.
Right, Gaurav. Now, Gaurav, Gita, let me just quickly say this, that before we, in fact, await for what comes out as an outcome from that very meeting, quickly, I want to take the focus of this conversation towards what does India get from this very meeting. Gita, coming to you, we're talking about this meeting taking place at a time right after we've seen that India-Beijing reset that's taken place, the India-China reset that's taken place at the sidelines of the SCO summit as well. We're talking at a time when India is also suffering from the tariff war. So would you say this meeting that takes place, if indeed China is, successful in striking up a deal with the United States, which helps the tariff situation, which lessens the tariff burden, then yes, India too has, some sort of hope that it follows next on the same path. On the other hand, the geopolitical importance of this very meeting on India as to what happens if a US-China truce does in fact come onto the table. How does India get impacted?
Well, the thing is that Trump has changed how America reacts to or engages countries across the world when it comes to trade. It is not a singular one policy for all kind of a situation anymore. So this the trade deal that we're looking at between U.S. and China would be very different from the one that India is trying to work out with the United States of America. And the conversations also are very, very different. For us, the focus has been Russian oil imports, the secondary penalties or sanctions that were leveled on or tariffs that were leveled after India continued with Russian oil imports from 25 to 50%. Was not the case with China, although China is a larger importer of Russian oil. And they saw that they could not do that with China. They've moved back, but they did not move back with India. So thinking that a trade deal with China would end up or pave the path for a trade deal with India, I don't think that's how it's going to work out. In fact, if anything, and if you look at the details of what is imported and what is exported and what China has to offer, if they have a trade deal, it is going to be rather difficult for India. Because the United States of America badly needs China. For India, America is a massive market. Apart from the fact that we're a defense market for US, America is a market for India, and so we really need America to ensure that our products reach the US. And in that, if they have a supply chain, if they have a very important part of the supply chain in China, if they have the market there, then cutting or having that conversation and negotiating terms with America will become largely difficult, given that they already have a trade deal with China. So if you ask me, it has been country to country basis. And each country, they've seen as to what the country has to offer, what America can take of the trade deal and gain from that trade deal. And a US-China deal early on, whilst we are still having a conversation, I don't think is a great idea. If it happens simultaneously, closer to the end of the year, both countries really finally sit and announce those trade deals, that could be better for India. While Donald Trump has said that there could be a trade deal, I think there will be announcements. But a trade deal requires a lot more work, which is what his own Commerce Secretary and Treasury Secretary for sure, Scott Bessent, said.